Hey everybody, this is Ryan Leaf, and you're watching the Jboy Show.
Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're joining us. As usual, we're always pumped for you guys to come kick it with us. Keep trying to bring you the best content we can. I'm going to get to my monologue, and former standout quarterback Ryan Leaf has an unbelievable story. He's doing sports media now. Going to get him in here to talk quarterback play, overcoming adversity, how football is a great mirror of life, and how it is playing quarterback. And as usual, help you guys win the water cooler. But first, we got to shout out betonline.ag. Head over there today. Now, if you visit the site or sign up using mobile, you get a 50% sign-up bonus. I'm going to say that again. That's a 50% sign-up bonus. They've got everything over there: Major League Baseball, the NBA Finals, soccer, everything, game props, team props, player props, parlays, pleasers, teasers, geezers, cheesers, and whatever else you can find in the betting world. They've got it at betonline.ag. So whether it's the next tip-off, face-off, kickoff, doesn't matter. Head over to betonline.ag today. My monologue is something that you hear the cliches a lot, and overcoming adversity, how football is a great teacher of life. And I'd like to use, myself as an example, if I may, without coming off as, cliche or anything like that. For those of you who don't know, obviously my father was Crain, All-American linebacker at Auburn, played in the NFL. Total hard ass, unbelievable dad, but total hard ass. And when you look at football and what it teaches, and he used to say it all the time. You heard in my Pat Dye Jr. interview. A lot of my life lessons were taught to him through Coach Dye. And it would start out with, well, Coach Dye used to say this, Coach Dye used to say that. And what football teaches you, in my opinion, is that, number one, it's not always going to be easy. If you work as a team, it's a whole heck of a lot easier to get something done. And how to handle yourself when you're tired, when you don't want to go to work, when it's down in the dumps, if your girlfriend or wife's mad at you, or your husband or boyfriend's mad at you, or it's not going great at the office, or you just lost your job. It teaches you how to bounce back, how to operate in that space, how to push yourself further than a normal person or somebody in that situation that may linger and linger and linger, how to push yourself in that situation. Now, that doesn't mean that football is the only way to do that. And there's a lot of sports that teach you that. But when you look at the game of football, the physicality, the grind just to play 12 games, it's all you're guaranteed nowadays is 12 games. The fan stuff's fun and all that other stuff is fun. But when nobody's out there, when you're rolling on the mats during winter workouts, during summer conditioning, when you're as tired as you could possibly be, you may have off the field stuff going. You may be struggling in a class. You may have just broken up with your girlfriend, your high school sweetheart, whatever. But later in life, it's amazing. When my dad committed suicide, the first thing outside of, just being shocked and stuff like that is, all right, well, I'm the oldest. Now I have to do the things quicker than what I would normally have to do when I became that age. Right? I was not overwhelmed with having to be the person that said, all right, well, I'm the oldest. I got to fill this slot now and this, that, and the other. I was taught that not only by my father and how I was brought up, but in football. You get blasted on a play during spring, or it's hot and you can't move, or it's tough and all this stuff's going on. You want to quit, and you really deep down want to quit, but you don't. Because you go back to those memories. And this is something I'm going to talk to Ryan Leaf about. And it happens to you throughout life. And you guys know this in the audience. I mean, it's never goes exactly how you want it to go. That's what makes the great times so great. But I'll end the monologue with this saying. And it's something Coach Dye used to say, and regardless if you're an Auburn fan, whatever, I think this is something we can all relate to, is that, he used to say, we don't do all this running, roll you in the winter, spring, summer, take all this time, go through 3-a-days, 4-a-days, go through inside drill, do the rodeo, all that stuff, just to win football games. That's a part of it. Obviously, coaches are paid to win. Players are judged by if they win or lose. But it's when you're done playing, because a very small percentage of people get paid to play past college. And that alarm clock rings at 6 in the morning. You got a wife and you got 2 kids and you got a mortgage payment. You got electricity bill and you got a car payment. You got to pay for ballet lessons. And you got to pay for T-ball and all this other stuff. And that alarm clock rings at 6 in the morning. You get your ass up and you go to work. Because that's what you were taught. That was instilled in you, regardless of how it's going. It is a great teacher of personal responsibility and a way to be able to fight back against adversity. Because nothing good was ever gotten that wasn't gotten without a fight. And that's what it teaches you how to do. Fight when you're down. Fight when your back's against the wall. Fight when the chips are down. And that's something you carry on for the rest of your life. That's my monologue for today. Excited to get to Ryan Leaf. We're going to talk a little more about this and obviously in the X's and O's and stuff like that. Appreciate your time. Let's go win the water cooler. All right, everybody. As promised, getting to the interview portion of today's show. Hope you enjoyed that monologue and got another hell of a guest for you. Former standout quarterback Ryan Leaf's got an amazing story, doing big things now as well. You can catch him on SiriusXM, the RDL show, guest hosting for Rich Eisen, doing a little bit of everything. Ryan, man, I appreciate you joining us.
You bet. You've stepped it up since the last time I saw you. Got your own studio. It was like your basement before. I love
know,
it.
literally,
it
was even worse than that, man. I'm trying to get like you. We now very blessed. You know, they got to put me around good scenery to make me look better. You know what I'm saying? So
I love it, man. Good for you. Good for you.
Hey, well, I appreciate it, man. Congrats on all your success too, man. Whether it's going in for Wingo and then on Rich Eisen and all that stuff, man. I know you're doing a hell of a job. I love the RDL show, talking a little bit of everything. And we're going to get to that. But no, man, I want to jump right in, Ryan, because, my monologue was teaching, or not really teaching, but talking about how, in today's society, everybody wants everything fast. Football is still the greatest, in my opinion, one of the greatest teachers of life, not only overcoming adversity, but being able to set yourself up down the road, being able to be accountable, being responsible. We all know the difference between going to high school and football. What's your opinion on football as being a life teacher, as a guy who, is knocking it out of the park right now, man? You understand how to beat adversity.
Well, I mean, it can do all those things, and it did a lot of it for me. What I didn't fully understand is how the entitlement part will come with that, though.
Yeah.
Though all those lessons are taught, there's a real piece of entitlement that comes with being a star football player, just because of the lack of consequences. So that with everything that goes along with the teaching model of football, that has to be another piece of it.
Yeah.
There has to be some ownership by coaches when your star player messes up, right? Your livelihood's based on this guy playing for you on the weekend and making you a star, because he is a star. But when he screws up, that's where the real teaching lessons come in about being accountable. Like, I didn't necessarily have any of that growing up. I got placed on this pedestal, and ultimately, no matter how I behaved, the coaches they needed me on the basketball court or the baseball diamond or the football field, and that's going to have to change if those lessons will be lifelong lessons. Now, of course, some people can learn them really well. I had a tough time learning them because I saw what I could get away with, and I manipulated that side of it very, very easily.
Well, it's a great segue, in my opinion, Ryan, to the NIL stuff, because, again, look, a lot of it's good, in my opinion. I've talked about it. I think if I'm going to make money off my name, image, and likeness, how am I supposed to tell a Tank Bigsby or an unbelievable player that they can't make money off jersey sales? But there's some entitlement that comes with that, too, as well. And I think that's one of the hardest parts for the coaches, is being able to, and not the locker room is going to get all pissed at each other, because, right, the best players know who the best players are. I mean, the players in the locker room have a good idea of who the best players are. But, do you worry with this NIL stuff that you're going to get guys not only that are in college, but these kids coming out of high school that are expected to be put on this pedestal? Now they're getting money, and they're going to have a base behind them or somebody behind them that's able to, string them back a little bit down to reality. What's kind of your thoughts on this NIL situation?
Like anything, there's going to be horror stories of the NIL and how it affects people early in age. I will say this though, there's 1% of these players will play professionally.
Yep.
Like 1% of the 1% of the 1% play professional football, basketball, whatever you may be. And if this is an opportunity where they'll be most profitable to monetize and make some money to set them up, also maybe give them a career path, maybe they get connected with a company. I know that Oregon has offered a ton of internships for former Oregon football players. In fact, one of the wide receivers that played with my little brother there got a chance to go in for an internship because he wasn't going to play professionally. He now has been pretty much a lifer at Nike headquarters there in Beaverton, Oregon. So I think there'll be plenty of opportunities to build relationships with these corporations, these individuals that are helping monetize the brand of the young player, regardless of what sport it is. But there are going to be horror stories, just like there is anywhere. Like my instance, I got to the NFL, was given $31 million and was broke by the time I was 30 years old. So I've had to fight my way back. I know how far a dollar can go now. Sometimes that just needs to happen for people to understand and realize there's lessons everywhere. As long as you keep getting back up, it doesn't really matter. But I think there's a lot of positives that come with this. And of course, like anything, there's this other side of the coin. There's going to be horror stories where somebody's given a bunch of money, they blow through it, they do different things that aren't about their future, but about their instant satisfaction, which is a ton about our culture right now. It's all about instant satisfaction. So there's going to be both sides of that coin, and to think there isn't, or to shut it down one way or the other because of that is nonsense.
Yeah, people will always be people, and that will always happen. And again, like you said, there's going to be stories to learn from, good and bad. It's just such an interesting time. And Ryan, I've actually said, and I'm going to do a monologue on this at some point, I think the transfer portal, to be honest with you, especially being able to transfer inside of conferences, looking at the SEC and without a penalty, is harder on coaches than NIL is. I really think it is, because it's really hard to build a foundation and a culture in that room, especially in the game of football, where you're not dealing with 5 guys on the court. You're not dealing with a pitcher that can go out there and throw 103 and win a Friday night game every time he goes out, pretty much. But especially for new coaches, being able to build culture in that locker room and develop guys from when they're younger to when they're older, especially at the quarterback position. How do you feel about, not that players can transfer, but being able to say, all right, well, I'm playing linebacker at Tennessee. Well, look at what Alabama has. I'm just going to transfer over to Alabama and play there. It just, to me, that presents a bigger problem down the road. That's just me, though.
I mean, it is what it is. Coaches now have to recruit year round, not only players they want to bring to the program, but also players in their own locker room, essentially, which is going to make things tougher. Yes. But also, if a player doesn't want to be with you,
you might as well cut bait.
I'm not going to sweat that. If the player doesn't want to be there, he most likely is not going to put in the effort and sacrifice for your culture and what it wants to be. So, fly away. And, Clemson hasn't even entertained the transfer portal. They don't accept transfers, and they have continued to be successful tenfold, right? It's all about whether or not you have a culture that, manifests this type of situation. You've even seen some really great. It's a quarterback transfer portal, is what it is.
That's exactly right.
People don't understand how many players have entered it, don't come out the other side with a scholarship at any other place.
It's wild. It's way higher than what people would think if they actually knew the number.
It's a way for you just to lose your free education. That's what it really is for a lot of people.
No doubt. And you look at college basketball and how crazy it is there, but no, you do make a great point. There's a lot of guys that went into the portal and got sent into the wrong dimension, let's just say, as opposed to guys that got sent to the right planet, a la Matt Damon in what's that movie? Mars Cone? Is that what it is? Is it Martian? That's it with Matt Damon. But no, Ryan, and just looking at it again, with this NCAA stuff, it's going to continue to be interesting. But I do want to transition to obviously on the field stuff. And, as a guy that took a lot of snaps from under center, from in the gun, looking now offensively, you're starting to get not just, all right, hey, we're a spread offense, we're going to stay in the gun the whole time, or we're a pro style offense, we're going to stay under the center the whole time. You're getting kind of a blend. And I've had guys on here that have talked about quarter play and the difference between playing in the shotgun and playing under center. I use Bo Nix from Auburn as an example. His first 2 years and really in high school, excuse me, he took snaps from the shotgun, from literally standing back in the pocket, taking it. Now he's working under center, working the play action game, mixing that in. How big of an adjustment is that for somebody who hasn't played under center to be able to go under center, not only from a taking the snap standpoint, but for being able to get your eyes where they're supposed to be as you're dropping, which is the most underrated part of that, in my opinion.
Extremely difficult. It's just like a baby, right? If you haven't been taught something, how the hell are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And so it's a rewiring of your footwork, of your eyes, all of those things. And it's all I ever knew. My whole life was under center. When I got to college was the first time I ever got to go into the shotgun. So I had to kind of learn what the shotgun looked like, So this is, it's going to be a learning experience for Bo. Sitting in Brian Harsin's offense, it can be really beneficial to be able to use play action if you're running the ball well, because it really puts a lot of pressure on linebackers and safeties and gives you a chance to get guys over the top. I utilized it a ton in college. It helped us. It just helped us so much be able to influence defenses and make big plays. So when you're sitting in the shotgun, the linebackers, because the running back's so far in the backfield, the linebackers can stay in their spot. They don't have to move. When they're under center, that quarterback running back mesh point is only about 2, 3, 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. Those linebackers have to start filling those holes faster.
Yeah.
So it makes it more difficult for the defense. And so once Bo realizes that, anybody else who's transitioning to under center and they develop that footwork, it can be a very beneficial tool for you as a quarterback.
Yeah. And to me, you look at an offensive line and using Auburn as an example that doesn't have a bunch of great tackles. It's a nice way to slow down that defensive end too, especially if you're able to hide the play action ball. And you see guys like Peyton Manning and these guys in the NFL that were unbelievable at it. You can take a step away from a DN because you're not running the zone read under center. I always say that. They ain't got to worry about you running the zone read under center. It's really play action and boot stuff. But, Ryan, I do want to ask you, bring up Brian Harsin. And again, you played in a section of the country where he's from, obviously. And what do you think about the Brian Harsin hire at Auburn and his fit in the SEC coming from out there in Potato Island, out there in Idaho?
He was when Washington State had an opening 2 years ago after Mike Leach left and went to Mississippi State. The athletic director for Washington State, reached out to me and asked kind of for a list of guys that I thought would be a solid, coaching list. And Brian Harsin was at the top of it for me. So wow. I really liked him. I like that he's from the Chris Peterson coaching tree. Mm-hmm. The success he's had at Boise State, how it's continued, his time with Kellen Moore, all of those things meant a lot to me. And I think Nick Rolovich was number 2 for me, and Steve Sarkisian was number 3. And when he went to Auburn, I thought, well, that's a no-brainer. I still can't quite figure out why they moved on from Gus Malzahn. I mean, but to each his own. Brian Harsin is an incredible coach. He's been looking for an investment in a football program. You just weren't going to get it out towards the West in the Mountain West Conference like you're going to get at Auburn University. He's seen that firsthand. He's seen the resources available to him, the ability to recruit, all the things. Now it's time to go play the games. And that's a different story altogether because you're playing in the West of the SEC, and that may be the Bermuda Triangle for everybody that even thinks about entering.
Yeah, the dude's not afraid. I'll say that. It's a perfect segue, Ryan. You would think maybe you did this for a living now. That's easy as you're making the segues for me. But when you want a shot at the champ, coming from a place like Boise, like you're talking about, into, in my opinion, the West is as deep and as good as it's ever been. You look at Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss; they're a problem. Mike Leach. You already know at Mississippi State, I had Coach Leach on the show a little bit while back. That was always fun. But even Sam Pittman at Arkansas, that's not going to be a gimme anymore. They're ready to fight you tooth and nail. And then obviously You look at what the great Emperor Nick Saban has built over there in Tuscaloosa. And, Ryan, I know they're replacing a lot, but you can't bet against Alabama in the West right now or in general. You just can't do it.
No, you can't ever. I got to spend a couple days with Coach Saban in West Virginia at the end of May. We talked about it. Like anything, he is as open-minded about what college football is going to look like. He may be disappointed sometimes in the direction it's gone because of what it's been through the whole entire time. But he transitions like nobody else. Yeah. And I expect them to be the favorite in the West again. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they were an undefeated football team and playing for the national championship once again. We'll see what the rest of the West looks like. Let's see what Mississippi State looks like, because Mike Leach usually takes about a year to figure out what guys are fit for his offense, what they want to do, what their niche is, and they recruit towards it. And usually year 2 and 3 is when he starts to elevate his game. So Mississippi State becomes an issue. Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin, yeah, exactly. He's got probably one of the top quarterbacks in the country in Matt Corral. And I can't. How do they pronounce it? Coral or
It's
Corral?
It's Corral.
That's
why I call him.
Right.
I can't believe he's not sponsored by Golden Corral yet. I mean, I keep throwing these out there.
I don't know if I want to be sponsored by Golden Corral. Okay?
Well, especially as the quarterback. But hey, you can take your O-line there. That's
exactly.
That's
you could if you want them to be maybe shitting themselves. I don't know.
Well, man, find me an O-lineman that's not before the game. I will say this though. I will say this. Ryan, I had this in my monologue the other day. I am surprised a little bit that there hasn't been more offensive linemen get some love in NIL. I'm looking at you, right guard, deodorant. I mean, good Lord. Arby's, we have the meats. Let's figure it out, guys. Stop trying to get running backs over there. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah,
the pretty guys are going to get all the gifts, though, Ryan. You know that.
Well, I think they probably, if they kind of came together as a unit, as the 5 guys, and they went out and kind of sold themselves as that.
5 guys. Ryan Leaf, Genius Marketer, Mark Cuban, where are you at? Write it down. We're having our own little version of Shark Tank here. 5 guys.
Yes, we are.
That's
5
unbelievable.
guys.
That's the best one. I thought right guard was the best one. Ryan's got to come on here and just have the best one instantly. That's fantastic. That's sidebar, but well done there, Ryan Leaf. But I do want to ask you about Georgia, Ryan, before I let you go. But before I do, Texas A&M and LSU, 2 very, very interesting storylines coming into this year. Obviously, A&M loses Kellen Mond, but I really think the Hayes King kid's got a chance to be good. Calzada as well, but I really like what the King kid can do. But A&M, man, they physically look like they are ready to really start making a run a little bit and chipping away at Alabama and Georgia with what they've done. I mean, they've got a good-looking group of kids, man.
They do. Jimbo can recruit, all right, and he's been doing it for a long time. He may have stepped in it a little bit by running his mouth about Coach Saban and being able to beat him. But hey, this could be the year, right? This could be the year. I mean, they were as good as anybody a year ago, and they couldn't even stand up to Alabama.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. If Alabama is far and away again better, it really doesn't matter what anybody else has. They're just playing for second fiddle there in the West and in the entire conference. So if there was a year in how it was built and where it's taken to, unfortunately, the only problem is, to your point, they've lost their quarterback. They're going to be breaking in a brand new quarterback in the West of the SEC division. And that's incredibly difficult.
Yeah,
but if you have a guy that can get it done, I expect them to run the ball significantly, play good defense, and try to be explosive the best they can, because that's how they're going to have to win games with a brand new quarterback.
And, you look at LSU real quick as well, Ryan, and you've got great expertise on this. When you're a guy like Max Johnson and Miles Brennan. Miles Brennan, good year last year, got hurt. Max Johnson came in, did some great things. They hired Jake Peetz, DJ Mangus from the NFL. You're going to get more of an RPO style, zone read offense, a little bit more spread out. If you're a guy like, man, I had Brad Johnson on here the other day talking about Max, and I think Max is going to be the guy. Brad's phenomenal, by the way. Absolutely.
You want to hear a good story about that first before we get into this?
Please tell us.
So I'm playing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm Brad Johnson's backup. We live in the same area outside Tampa called Cheval.
What year is this?
Golf.
What year is this, Ryan?
This is 2000 and whatever year Max was born. 2001.
Okay.
2000. 2001. I believe it was 2001. And we're playing golf, and I don't know what hole we're on, but his phone starts buzzing, and he picks it up, and he's just like, "Hey man, I gotta go. I go, "What's up?" He's like, "I'm having the kid. So he takes off, and then I get the phone call that night that Max was born, and it was Maximilian Johnson. And I said, "You're gonna call your son Max Johnson?" I love it. I love it.
No, it is. It's the greatest name.
Love it.
It really is, and I guarantee you, he's had a lot of fun with that name growing. His friends have probably had a lot of fun with that name as well. But no, and again, quarterbacks are the best golfers. I don't care what anybody says. I'm sure you guys are knocking them stiff. But no, Ryan, when you look at that, if you're a guy like Miles Brennan, that's more of a pro style guy. Because again, listen, if Miles Brennan is running the zone read, I am not taking that 100% seriously that he's going to keep the ball, which is going to keep that effectiveness down, in my opinion. So Auburn tried to do it with Jarrett Stidham, just didn't work. If you're that guy that gets the OC that comes in and it's a different type of offense, you can't really change your game up, can you?
No, well, listen to this. Coaches are much more adaptable, I do feel, when they come in and they adapt to what their best assets are. If Miles Brennan is their best chance at throwing the football with the wide receivers that they have and getting down the field and being explosive, because that's how you win, then he may be the guy. And maybe there might be some packages where Max Johnson comes in and is more of a threat with that RPO. And he clearly showed he can toss it around as well. And that win over Florida a year ago, which I thought was just absolutely amazing. So they'll be fine. Coach O will have them raring to go after that disappointing follow-up to the national championship. But, there had to be a letdown, losing that many players and just riding that high of winning the national championship like they did. I expect the West to be uber competitive this year. Yeah,
it's going to be like watching a UFC fight every Saturday. But last question here with the Ryan Leaf. You catch him on SiriusXM, the RDL show. Will guest host for Rich Eisen everywhere. The dude's blowing up, as you think a guy with his knowledge would and delivery. But Ryan, it's been a great time. But my question again, I get this all the time. Everybody always wants me to ask this, especially our Georgia fans and the audience. And I haven't been in sports media long enough to be one of the guys that's like, all right, this is Georgia's year. This is Georgia's year. This is Georgia's year. But when you look at this roster, when you look at the comfortability that I think Kirby has with Todd Monken and JT Daniels, with the weapons they have, and then adding what they added in the portal in the secondary, which a lot of people thought was the weak link on the defense, feels like Kirby's got his best shot now, my friend. And the East isn't exactly bubbling with talented teams.
No, I like it. I like Georgia. I've loved Georgia for a while now. Kirby Smart's an incredible coach, incredible recruiter. The addition of JT Daniels, like if JT doesn't blow his knee out at USC, I don't believe anybody's ever heard of Keaton Slovis. Okay? JT Daniels is the real deal. All right. And you guys got to see it last year down the stretch. Him coming back this year. It's amazing that the SEC has been able to infiltrate Southern California and get these quarterbacks, Bryce Young, Corral, and JT Daniels. These guys are Southern California kids that are in place in the SEC and are going to be at the top of your quarterback chain there. And they're going to have, they get the East, which is a little bit easier than the gauntlet of the West, which should make it more. But the question is they haven't been able to get over Alabama when it truly counted. They've been able to do it when it wasn't the national championship, but they haven't been able to get it done in that case. So I think this is a very good team. I wouldn't be surprised if the SEC championship a year from now, in December is going to be Georgia versus Alabama.
Yeah, gun to my head, I'm picking that one too. I know I said that was my last question, Ryan, but since you played out west in the Pac-12, what are your thoughts on where the Pac-12 stands right now? In kind of their trajectory going forward?
Well, I think from top to bottom, they're the most competitive conference in America. The difference is that we don't have an elite team like the SEC does. Like the ACC or the Big 12 or the Big 10, where there is one team every year, they're getting picked, period. It's going to be Ohio State, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Clemson. Those are the 4 teams that you expect to be in the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
The Pac-12 just doesn't have that. Week in, week out, anybody can beat anybody. Vanderbilt's not beating Alabama. I don't care if you know, there's a apocalyptic event.
If there's a fire.
Right? Last year, Arizona, which was the worst team in the Pac-12, had USC beat, who would go on and be undefeated in the regular season, even though it was a shortened regular season. Anybody can beat anybody in the Pac-12. It just is a 9-conference schedule. What the difference is and why the Pac-12 is viewed the way it is because they have not won the non-conference in the regular season. They've won bowl games. I don't put a lot of onus on that. They just haven't won non-conference games early in the year. The Oregon lost to Auburn a few years ago. This year is huge, right? Oregon goes to Ohio State in week 2.
Woo.
Washington goes to Michigan. LSU comes out to UCLA and plays in the Rose Bowl. I don't know when the last time an SEC team made the journey all the way out on the West Coast to play. That's a big one because UCLA seems to have gotten better. USC and Stanford both play Notre Dame, who's been in the college football playoff. These games, they have to win them. Otherwise, College Game Day, Reese Davis, and Kirk Herbstreit are going to sit up there because they don't follow it close enough. They're just going to be like, the Pac-12 is irrelevant. And everybody in the world's going to hear it and then start to believe it. Like, haha, it's a joke, Old Bernsey, your SEC network guy, he called blue cheese the Pac-12 of
I saw that. I saw that
the other day.
I saw that.
And I just wanted to fire a 4-iron at him and say, hey, I do like his point. Blue cheese is bad. It's ranch all the way when you're having wings, people. But it's certainly not the Pac-12 of dipping sauces, that's for sure.
Well, what would you say? What would you say the Pac-12 is of dipping sauces, Ryan? Just put you on the spot. What would it be?
Well, it'd be a diverse kind of maybe a
like a zing,
maybe like a Chipotle ranch.
Okay, there we go.
So
there we go.
Very good, very good. Some people may not like it, but still very good for your wings to dip in.
Definitely. Well, listen, we're going to write that one down. We've got a blue cheese and Chipotle ranch battle. You can sign me up for that all day. Ryan, great stuff, brother. I knew it was going to be. We got you back. Glad to get you back. Would love to get you back closer to the season as well, man. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media and where they can find the content, man. You're everywhere, dog. You're like Batman. So I just put the signal in the air and Ryan's up there.
Well, you can reach me at RDL, the RDL Show on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe at YouTube, the Ryan D. Leaf Show. I'm on all social media platforms at Ryan D. Leaf. You can go to theryandleaf.com is my website that tells you where I'm speaking. I'm going to be down. I'll be down in SEC country in August. I'll be at Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas A&M.
Dude, hit me up, man. Let's hang out. We'll get some Chipotle ranch and blue trees.
Where are you at? Are you in Atlanta?
Man, I'm in Atlanta. I'm in the ATL now, man. Yeah, I'm in the ATL.
I love Atlanta. I called the Georgia State game down there. They had a great campus, great stadium there. That was fun.
Yeah, man. Well, shoot, you're ever in town, we'd love to get you in studio, man. Shoot, you can throw some passes. Watch you break my fingers on national TV. But no, Ryan, right. I really appreciate it, buddy. Congrats on all the success, and we'll do this again soon.
You bet. Have a great day, guys.
You too. Appreciate you guys joining us. Subscribe, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere. It's the Jboy Show. Go to thejboyshow.com. Get some merch. Ryan, I got to send you a hoodie, man. I got to get your address so we can ship you a hoodie or at least a FedEx post office. I know how that goes, giving away home addresses. But no, I appreciate you guys joining us. It's been another edition of the Jboy Show with Ryan Leaf, and we are gone.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, Technical Director Dave Hammock, Creative Director David Culbertson, Audio Engineer Feyzan Shareef, Production Assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, Executive Producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with the Jboy Show.